Hey guys! All right, so today we're going to be reading this book, Poles Apart, Life at Both Ends of the Earth by Dr. Mark Norman. A lot of people think that polar bears and penguins live in the same place, but they don't. Some of them live in the North Pole and some of them live in the South Pole, the Arctic and the South Pole. So we'll talk about that, how they're poles apart. All right, so here's the North Pole. Polar bears and penguins don't live together. In the wild, they would never even meet. Polar bears live in the Arctic at the top of the world, while most penguins live in or near the Antarctica or live in or near Antarctica at the bottom of the world. So the polar bears live at the North Pole and the penguins live at the South Pole. The Arctic and Antarctica are similar places at opposite ends of the Earth. They are both very cold with lots of snow and ice. Winters are dark, and in summers, the sun shines 24 hours a day. Okay, so here's the North Pole and here's the South Pole. The Arctic is an ocean surrounded by land. If you stand at the North Pole at the very top of the Earth, you would be on a frozen sea ice over deep ocean. The seafloor would be 2.5 miles below. Antarctica is land about the same size as North America and is surrounded by sea. It is covered by a fat layer of ice known as the ice cap. If you stand at the South Pole at the bottom of the Earth, you would have to dig through almost 2 miles of ice before you reach solid rock. Many plants live in the Arctic. They need to be small, tough plants and can survive being smushed or squashed under heavy snow each winter. In summer, the ice melts and the plants bloom. These plants form a region known as the tundra. The snow hare is one of the many animals that feed on the plants of the tundra. So this is the North Pole. It is so cold and dry in Antarctica that very few plants can survive here. There is not a single tree in all of Antarctica. The nearest tree is over 600 miles away. The only plants that can survive here are mosses and tough lichen. Only tiny mites can feed on these plants. So here's the moss that grows. Right, here's North Pole. The Arctic is connected to North America and Russia. So many insects arrive overland every summer. Other insects have eggs or cocoons that can survive through the winter. In summer, the tundra is buzzing with butterflies, moths, beetles, dragonflies, and swarms of mosquitoes. Only a few tough bows can survive in Antarctica. There is not much to eat on land that they can't fly anywhere to escape the winter. Some of the flies on Antarctic islands have even given up flying and lost their wings. They are called whales. In the North Pole, puffins are like the penguins of the Arctic. Like penguins, they are great swimmers, but unlike penguins, puffins can fly. Some puffins even have strange hairdos similar strange hairdos to crested penguins. Penguins are only found at the bottom half of the world. Their little wings are useless for flying, but are excellent for steering when swimming. Here's the South Pole. So puffins live in the North Pole and penguins live in the South Pole. In the North Pole, the top predators of the Arctic are the polar bears. When hunting over ice, a polar bear will sometimes hide its black nose with its paw so that it can blend in with the snow. This makes it easier for large creatures to creep up on the sleeping seals. A polar bear is a great swimmer and will eat everything from roots to berries and hairs and seals. In the South Pole, one of the top predators of the Antarctic is the leopard seal. It hunts like a crocodile cruising around in the waters with only its eyes and nostrils sticking up out of the water, and it looks for penguins to eat. There's that seal. In the North Pole, the Antarctic landscape changes from plants and tundra in the summer to a frozen world of snow and ice in the winter. Hunters like the snowy owl and Arctic fox turn white in the winter to blend in with the snow. And in the South Pole and Antarctica, it is cold enough for snow and ice all year round. White is good for color for camouflage. So many birds, like the giant petrels, stay white all year. In the North Pole, some types of seals like to cuddle together to keep warm. Walruses have to be careful not to poke their neighbor in the eye with their tusks. They can use their tusks to climb onto the floating ice. Ice male will also use their tusks to fight. And in the South Pole, in Antarctica, elephant seals also like to cuddle. Pups grow fat on oily milk and then pile together to stay warm. The pups have to stay out of the sea until they are big enough to swim faster than their male predators, the killer whales. In the North Pole, some seals in the Arctic like to party. Bearded seals sing songs under the ice. Early explorers thought they were mermaids singing. Male hooded seals have rubbery noses and they can blow up to look like red balloons. They do this to attract a mate. See their nose right here? It's a red balloon. And then in the Antarctic or the South Pole, like humans, seals are air breathers. Weddell seals dive under the Antarctic ice to hunt for fish and octopus. They breathe through a hole in the ice, which they keep open by scraping back and forth with their front teeth. One of the strangest animals of the Arctic is the narwhal. These whales have only 2 teeth. Males grow one of these teeth to a 6-foot-long tusk that sticks out of the front of their heads. Males use their tusks to spar, just like sword fights. Minke whales are the most common whales of Antarctica. They search along the edges of the sea ice for schools of tiny shrimp known as Arctic krill. The whales feed by gulping big mouthfuls of water and krill. Then they squirt the water out through the sheave of special hairy plates in their mouths, called baleen plates, trapping the shrimp. Here's the one. Pretty cool. Winters are hard at the end of the earth. In Arctic, all the plants are buried under the snow and ice. Musk oxen have thick fur and huddle together for warmth. They dig through the shallow snow to get to the frozen grass underneath. In Antarctica, male emperor penguins have the toughest winter. They spend months in the freezing dark, shuffling around with an egg on their feet. Males won't eat for about 100 days, while they wait for their female mates to return in the spring with food for their new chicks. It's a long time to go without eating. I can't go without eating a minute, let alone 100 days. In the North Pole, as the sun returns in spring, the snow melts in the Arctic and the tundra plants are uncovered. Animals return to feed and have their young. Caribou walk and swim across lakes, while birds flock from everywhere. Wolves and red foxes arrive to hunt. In the springtime in Antarctica, the sea ice melts, and tiny krill form huge swarms. Seabirds fly south and whales swim from warmer waters to feast on the krill. Male sperm whales arrive to hunt for big squid. People have lived in the Arctic for more than 5,000 years. The Inuit live in the Arctic across northern Russia, North America, and Greenland. In northern Europe, the Sami people are the traditional herders of reindeer. Then in the South Pole, there is no land connecting Antarctica to other countries, so this frozen continent was only discovered by explorers about 200 years ago. Today, the only people who live there are scientists doing research into wildlife, weather, and global warming. Global warming is already affecting these special places at the ends of the earth. In both the Arctic and Antarctic, the snow and ice is melting more and more each summer. Glaciers are getting smaller, and animals like polar bears and penguins need our help. All right, so that is about both poles, the North and South Pole. So the North Pole has polar bears and all kinds of different wildlife, and it has plants that grow there in the summer when the ice melts. But in the South Pole, there's nothing below the ice. So there's nothing that grows there except for moss. It's just rock below the ice. And so people live in the North Pole, but only scientists visit the South, or other people can visit the South Pole, but normally only scientists visit the South Pole. Nobody lives there. All right, so I hope you learned a lot about the North and the South Pole and a lot about polar bears, and we'll talk about penguins later on this week. All right, bye guys.